All right, Mike here with Reprint, and here we have the little A3 DTF printer. I've sold multiple of this unit. Great little unit. I mean, the speed's pretty impressive for what it is. It has two XP600 print heads. This is how you can expect to receive your A3 model DTF printer. Print heads uninstalled. Here's some of the covers I've opened up. You have 4 peristaltic pumps, and I tell you right now, 2 of these are made for wet capping and head moisturizing. That'll be an automatic feature in the software. Love that, feature when it comes to this machine. I wish my big machine had that feature, but it's more of a manual process. So this one, the wet capping is going to be automated right in the system. Nice way to clean your print heads right here. This little compartment, the control panel opens up so you can get underneath here and clean your print heads. Very nice feature. This machine is very, very well built. One thing that I do not understand, well, I guess I do understand it, but the typical person that orders one of these machines is going to receive their machine just like this. Unless you order it from us and we set it up, you're going to receive it without the print heads installed. The reason being is these machines, they are mass produced and they have to buy the print heads from Epson, so it's more cost effective to build the machines and sell the print heads or deliver the print heads afterwards, because it's lower initial cost for them on these machines. They don't have to put print heads in each machine. The downfall to that is none of these machines are properly tested. Any of them, you could tell that no ink has ever been through this machine. So this machine, it was assembled and hoped that everything's in working order. I've had multiple cases where we've had boards or other little issues that went unknown because they never properly tested the machine. So that's the benefit of buying from us. We're going to go ahead and put your parts together, make sure it's done correctly, because the biggest problem I see when people are installing these print heads, they don't do it right and they make bigger messes. They short out print heads, they short out the boards, which causes more issues. So we're going to go ahead and replace or put in these print heads, get it tuned up. I'll keep you informed on the process throughout the entire process. Everything is clearly marked with which tube, what goes where. Very handy. The user manual is pretty vague. It's in Chinese, not very easy to understand, and hopefully one day I'll get a chance to rewrite that and make it more US friendly. Lots of language barriers and stuff that just does not make sense in the software. But overall, this is a great machine. I'm very happy with them. The customers that I've sold them to are very happy with them. The print heads are relatively cheap compared to the i3200 version. They do have another version of this machine that takes the i3200 heads. It is significantly faster, and it's a better overall. Well, the internals are pretty much the same, but has more of an industrial print head. So great machine. Has a nice little heating platen right here that folds up and comes in a road case, makes a nice stand for it. Here it is, the inside has LED lighting. Nice machine. We'll go ahead and put these print heads in, and we'll touch back and show you a little bit more. All right, so I've unboxed the print heads, and you can clearly see the storage solution. I've had many people reach out and say, oh, I got used print heads that had ink in it, and this is a storage solution to keep the piezo crystals inside the print head moist and all the other internal parts lubricated. And it is not ink. It is colored, but it is a storage solution. There's another thing I'm going to point out about the head cables on this machine, because they are kind of weird, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to that. All right, so this kind of confused me my first go at this machine. As you can see right here, the number of pins, and you can see that big white strip right there that's a little bit thicker on the end there. Let's see, right there. Now the other end, which I'm going to flip this around, is different. They have trimmed off, as you can see, they cut right there, that white strip. It's been cut. So one side of this print head, which this side with the cut strip, goes directly to the print head. The other goes to the carriage board. It'll fit in there just fine. The first one I did, I had one switched around. I said, these are not the right cables. When they are in fact the right cables, they've just been cut. So very important. The uncut side goes right here. And when you put them in there, make sure you go nice and straight. It's kind of hard to do that with the phone, but make sure you go in nice and straight, push down, nice and secure, and always double, triple, quadruple check your connections to make sure those are seated correctly, but none of them are bent, because that's where you're going to do the most damage. And I'm going to show you some other pointers once we get to the head area. Whenever I start connecting them, I'm going to show you some good practice tips for these machines and combating ink spillage. Alright, so I have the dampers installed. Unfortunately, it took 2 hands, so I had these dampers are kind of tricky. Make sure you rock them back and forth, make sure that they're all sitting correctly, make sure that you do not damage any of them. They are in there nice and tight and firm. This particular machine, the back head, from order of right to left, we got magenta, yellow, cyan, magenta, cyan, black. That's this configuration, which you'll see more once the ink lines get filled up. The front lines are all white, but I wanted to make sure that they went in their right order, so that the ink lines didn't get kinked anywhere. I ran the head cables back this way, which is going to get covered with the head cover. I may take some zip ties and try to clean it up a little better. I do not like the length of these cables. Lots of cable there. So how it goes, just for anyone doing this in the future for this machine, we got the front head, which runs to this right board, and it's nicely labeled left and right. So you can see on each side of these, the headboard, it says left and right. So the right one's going to be your first head, your white head. It is right here, and it is labeled left and right. So your right cable goes to the right, left cable. Then you can see that the blue faces you. That's how she's done. So now I'm pretty comfortable with this. I'm going to double check the connections one more time. That's very important. I'm going to make sure that there's no cables crooked. This is vital. I can't stress this enough. I'm going to make sure that those are done first before I even power this machine up. I'm going to make sure, if this was a machine I was replacing a printhead, I'd make sure that no ink got anywhere on them cables. If it did, if you're messing with live ink, you definitely want to make sure that you have it cleaned up before you attempt to power this machine off, because what's going to happen is you're going to blow the print head, possibly the headboard, possibly the main board. They all run in circuit, and when wires get short-circuited and crossed, or have any type of liquid in them, they're going to cause damage. And some reason, somebody had a water spill right here, they'd probably try to clean it up and wait for it to dry out and ensure that there was no water. But when it comes to ink, people just don't seem to care. It's like they don't believe it's conductive, that it can cause problems, and it definitely can. So I'm going to make sure once again that all the connections are tight. You can't do this enough. You can do it 10 times if you have to. Just make sure that it's all right. After this, we'll fill her up.